Most people don't have more than the occasional thought about the size of their craps. To the average person, it is nothing more than a consequence of food choice and potential health conditions. But to some, it's more than just that. It's a challenge, a test of human will, an exercise in just how far the human body can be pushed. To the small group of people that have committed massive amounts of time and effort to the pursuit of the largest crap, it's a lifestyle. The record for the largest crap is certainly no easy task. It takes countless hours of planning and precision, meticulous dieting, and proper nutrition to ensure the perfect constipation levels, and on top of all that, flawless execution to pass the crap at the perfect time. It is vigorous, dangerous, and incredibly taxing to the body. Perhaps this is why so few people have been up to the task of even attempting a world record. This is the story of those few that have done it. This is the history of the largest crap world records. Human crap has existed on Earth since the birth of modern Homo sapiens nearly 300,000 years ago. There is some evidence that points to these ancient humans having a fixation towards crap size, such as cave paintings from the Maros region of Indonesia dating back to nearly 50,000 years ago. However, it would be tens of thousands of years before we would find solid evidence of the human interest in crap size, coinciding with the birth of civilization on Earth. The Mesopotamia civilization would begin in 4000 BC, and the Sumerians would begin to rule. With them came the king of the city Uruk, Meskiagashur, who would be the first recorded human to claim he had taken the biggest crap ever. This event would be inscribed on a clay tablet and discovered thousands of years after the fall of the civilization. From this point on, civilizations from all across the earth would have those who claimed to have the biggest crap. It was reported that Julius Caesar had taken the largest crap ever at the age of 12, signaling his eventual rise to power of the Roman Empire. Genghis Khan would claim to add it to his list of world records he accomplished as ruler of the Mongols. Montezuma, the second ruler of the Aztec Empire in 1502, would claim to have the largest crap to Spanish conquistadors in an effort to intimidate them. Despite all of these claims being made, it was impossible to ever verify any of them. Because of this, those within the community recognized the need for some kind of governing board to develop rules and authenticate those who claim to break the record. In 1950, the European Fecal Standards and Measurements Office would be formed in Zurich, Switzerland by a local man named Beach Couric. He was the most prolific name in the community at the time, with tale of his massive craps spreading across the world. Along with the governing board, he would create the unit for measuring feces that would become standard in the record community from then on, the Couric. 1 Couric is equal to roughly 2.5 pounds. Couric himself would be the first to ever set an official record for the largest crap when he produced one weighing approximately 4.5 Courics in 1950. An impressive feat, but with an official record on the line now, new faces began appearing in the scene at a rapid pace. The record would be broken a few months later in 1951 by Sir Stapleton of Brentwood, when he managed an incredible 4.9 Courics. Prior to this, it was thought that breaking the 5 Couric mark would be impossible, and Sir Stapleton quickly proved just how close they were. It would be another year before Stapleton would improve any further on his record, when in 1952 he would produce a record 5.1 Courics. At this point in the community, many considered this to be a dead category. No one thought it was even possible to improve on this 5.1 because of just how far ahead Stapleton was. The closest anyone else had gotten was a 4.6 Couric by Marky Maxey from Cleveland, Ohio in 1955, and even that was a whopping 0.5 Courics away from even tying the record. Stapleton had proved that there are levels to this game, and no one was even close to his. His record would stand for a whopping 8 years, with seemingly no end in sight. Stapleton had already retired from the community and planned to hold a 10-year anniversary celebration soon. But then, seemingly out of nowhere, a new name appeared in the community. In 1960, despite holding no previous records and no recorded history of serious attempts, the record that stood for 8 years was absolutely shattered by Bono. He had produced a record 7.5 Courics, absolutely destroying the previous record with the largest jump in Courics the record had ever seen. This kind of increase was completely unheard of, and especially from someone who was a complete nobody in the scene. Despite the rather suspicious circumstances in which the record occurred, the EFCM decided it would be allowed to stand regardless. Given that the previous record was thought to be completely unattainable, this new record inspired many to continue to compete in this competition, as well as many new faces to join in. Despite the resurgence in popularity, it would be incredibly difficult for anyone to even come close to this new record, and because of this, it was likely to stand for a very long time. And that it did. This record stood for 51 years. Bono had moved on to other areas of life, becoming an international superstar and humanitarian. Because no one else would even come close to his record, he had no need to improve his record any further. Every couple of years, some new prospect would come around that people thought would be the next record breaker, but every time they would fall short. That is, until 2011, when a new face would explode onto the scene by doing something no one had ever done before.
Wow.
You know how it feels like sometimes people are just born to be good at something? Well, it would seem like this new competitor was experiencing just that, as he would have such incredible skills that he would shatter the 51-year record without even knowing it. This is the incredible story of Randy Marsh. His story begins with a doctor's visit. He discusses how he's been experiencing severe constipation, and the doctor prescribes a laxative to help Randy out. Later that night, the laxative takes effect, and after some serious struggling, Randy is able to pass the crap. When he goes to flush, however, he immediately recognizes that there is something special about this crap. It is the biggest crap he has ever seen. He gets excited and calls over his wife and son. While his wife isn't too pleased, his son is genuinely impressed. This inspires Randy to tell his friends about it at the bar that night, where they begin to question just how big it really could be. He asks them if they would like to see, and upon seeing it, they all recognize that this is something special. They immediately encourage him to call the Guinness Book of World Records. Upon calling Guinness, Randy learns of the European Fecal Standards and Measurements Office and relays the information to them. The moderators at the office recognize that they could be looking at a potential record here, as they estimate the crap to be a massive 8.5 Keurig. They still have to authenticate it themselves, and upon their official examination, it is determined to weigh in at 8.6 Keurigs, absolutely shattering the previous record and labeling Randy as the current record holder for the world's biggest crap. Randy Marsh had effectively done what so many others had grinded for hundreds of thousands of hours with absolutely no formal training or strategizing. This may seem impossible, but Randy had inadvertently been creating the new meta for the crap size community. Over the years, people had tried any number of food and diet combinations to help in building the world's largest crap, but none had ever been recognized as being much more effective than another. Thanks in partly to Randy's unique food preferences, as well as sheer coincidence, Randy had discovered the perfect food combination to allow for the right amount of constipation while remaining consistent. This diet plan that would soon become the meta in the community consisted of P.F. Chang's General Tso's chicken, Aunt Jemima's frozen sausage biscuits, and kimchi. This combination of food was so effective, Randy was able to create his record-breaking crap with zero formal training. To name Randy the official record holder, the EFSM decided to hold a medal ceremony where Randy would finally be given his medal for the largest crap. It seemed like this may be the beginning of the modern era in the community, with a new generation of craps that are exponentially larger than the previous generation thanks to this new diet meta. People began to question what were the limits of this technique, with some theorizing that with perfect diet and technique, elite competitors could theoretically reach Keurig numbers in the high teens. The future of this community seemed incredibly bright, and it seemed like Randy Marsh was born to do this, and this is the beginning of a career that could end in GOAT status. This was all thought to be certain, as the medal was about to be given to Randy. That is, until we saw the return of an old name.
Last night, at 8:20, I took a crap weighing 9.5 Keurigs.
At that very moment, as Randy was being declared the new record holder, Bono had sent in his own photo evidence of a crap weighing an unheard of 9.5 Keurigs. The medal ceremony would be called off, and many felt certain that Bono would dominate this category once again, proving to be the greatest to ever do it. Bono's new record, similarly to his previous one, was not without controversy, however. While Randy was forced to show his crap to the officials in public and go through a formal medal ceremony, it seemed as though Bono did not have to follow these same rules. He had never sent in any concrete evidence to prove his record, with the picture being the only evidence ever submitted by Bono. There was no formal inspection, medal ceremony, or anything like that. He had simply said that he had gotten the record back, and the moderators believed it and allowed the record to stand. This sparked a debate in the community, as many considered it to be preferential treatment towards Bono from the moderation team, and some believed that this may even suggest corruption from inside the regulations team. But regardless of these suspicious circumstances, the record was allowed to stand and Bono would remain the record holder. This would leave Randy incredibly discouraged, being just seconds away from being declared the greatest in the world, only to have it snatched away from him. He was so distraught that he would be brought to tears when discussing it with his wife and how important it was to him, and at that moment he decided to give up on the dream just as soon as he had began. That is, until one night, when he's at the bar with the same friends that encouraged him to apply for the record in the first place, and they began to remind Randy of the situation he's in. He may not hold the record right now, but he had set a new record without even trying. Just imagine the potential if he had properly trained and did so with intention. We could be looking at Keurig numbers that are completely unheard of. Randy realized that there was some truth in what his friends were saying, and that he may have been born with an incredible gift. If he could learn to train that gift and truly perfect the art, he could prove that this wasn't just a fluke. He could prove that he is the greatest crapper of all time. He already had his formula for dieting. All he had to do now was execute it to an extent that no one had ever seen before. So what did Randy do? He started grinding. 3 weeks he would spend preparing for this crap, and during that time he would spend nearly every waking hour of his life inside of P.F. Chang's. 16-hour days spent entirely consuming General Tso's chicken. He made sure to include as many Aunt Jemima frozen sausage biscuits as possible in between trays of chicken, as well as 16-ounce jars of kimchi to wash it all down. For 3 weeks, he kept eating and eating, allowing his stomach and intestines to expand more and more. In this time, he would consume nearly 150 pounds of General Tso's chicken, 300 Aunt Jemima frozen sausage biscuits, and 5 gallons of kimchi. At the end of the 3 weeks, he would visit the doctor to check on the progression of the crap. The doctor estimated that it weighs an insane 14 Keurigs, which would annihilate both his personal best and the current record held by Bono. The weeks of grinding had paid off for Randy, and the prep work was completed. Now all that was left was for Randy to execute. However, not everything would go so smoothly. While Randy was busy training, the current record holder Bono was busy helping the needy in Africa, spending very little time improving his record. When he learned of Randy's progress and just how close he was to taking the record for himself, he would discuss with the EFSM that the rules should require crap to be taken in front of the officials in Zurich, and they decided to follow his word. This would essentially solidify the fact that Bono was receiving preferential treatment from the moderation team, as not only are they changing the rules for Randy only, but they still haven't received any concrete evidence to prove that Bono's 9.5 Keurig was legitimate. When Randy would learn of this new rule change, he wouldn't be discouraged. He had grinded too hard to allow something like this to take him down, so against a doctor's warning of flying during his third trimester, Randy hops on a plane to Switzerland. Now, we have reached the culmination of Randy's weeks of hard work. If he's going to break the record, it's going to be right now. This is the most important moment of his life. All he has to do is push and pass the crap. It is now or never.
I can't do it. I can't do it.
The crap is simply too big, Mr. Marsh. We must perform a cesarean.
Disaster. The crap is simply too big. While Randy had spent all this time building the crap up, he hadn't developed the experience necessary to be able to pass a crap of this size. The doctor steps in to confirm that a C-section must be performed in order to remove the crap safely, therefore invalidating the crap. So that's it. Everything Randy had worked towards for 3 weeks, the mental and physical stress he has experienced through this quest for glory, was all for nothing. Bono would keep the record, and for the second time now, Randy would be so close to solidifying his name in the history books, only to fall short at the last second. This record attempt is officially dead. But maybe not. See, while Randy had been busy training for his record, his son Stan had taken it upon himself to do some digging into Bono and his records. He visited Bono's home and had a conversation with him, where he would question Bono's incessant need to be number one at everything, asking why in this circumstance he just can't accept being number two. Upon hearing this, Bono would freak out and force Stan to take it back. Bono's butler sees this and explains to Stan that Randy is in great danger. They travel to Zurich, and on the way, the butler explains to Stan the true story of Bono's records. As it turns out, while everyone assumed Bono was the record holder for the largest crap, he wasn't at all. This entire time, Bono himself was the record. He is the largest piece of crap in the world. Just as Randy had given up all hope, Stan arrives on the scene and explains everything. Bono had never actually taken the second crap. He faked it entirely. The moderators went along with it because the head of the team was the original record holder. He was the one who had taken the world record crap in 1960. This crap would grow to be Bono. He would always be number 2, which is why he strives so hard to be number 1 in everything in his life, including the biggest crap. Since Bono has grown so much, he still is the record for the largest crap at an estimated 80 Keurigs, a number over 5 times greater than anything anyone else had ever done before. So where does this leave us now? Randy has given up on his pursuit of the record as his body has failed him, and it has been revealed that the true record for the largest crap is 80 Keurigs, a number that is almost 6 times greater than Randy's projected weight, even if he had completed the crap. However, thanks to the drama and reveals, Randy has been given a few more minutes to try to finish the job. So it looks like he has got one last shot at this, but considering he now has to pass a crap weighing over 80 Keurigs, he will need perfect timing, accuracy, and divine intervention to get this done. Welcome to a moment in history. Over 100 Keurigs. It is the single most clutch performance in the history of competition. Randy has proven that there are levels to this game, and he is several levels above everyone else. With this performance alone, Randy would solidify his place as the greatest to ever do it, retiring from competition immediately after setting the record. The record would remain in place for almost 10 years, being broken only 2 weeks before the 10-year mark. The record would be comfortably taken down on September 29, 2017, with an extremely impressive 115 Keurigs. This new record would be set by American subscription streaming service Netflix upon the release of the first season of the hit show Big Mouth, with each subsequent season surpassing the record as well.